What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on Undisputed, they're going to be talking about Jusuf Nurkic. So he broke his leg last night playing with the Portland Trail Blazers. So let's see what they have to say about this.
You know, sometimes things happen that you just can't explain.
Yep.
There are tragedies that happen out in real life that are just unspeakable, that we don't talk about because we're a sports show. Mm-hmm. So this was just a basketball tragedy, but it was a tragedy nonetheless in that context. And as you know, you played a very violent game called football, but basketball injuries, it's supposed to be a non-contact game, they're so freakish and ultimately so inexplicable. So here's Jusuf Nurkic having arguably the greatest game of his career. 32 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks. That'll work.
Yes.
He is playing for the surprise team of the Western Conference, to me, the biggest surprise, against the biggest surprise from the Eastern Conference, Brooklyn.
Yep.
They are in a second overtime in Portland, and he goes up for another, he already had 16, he goes up for a routine rebound, and he comes down on somebody's foot, and his ankle turns, but worse, everything breaks in his lower leg.
Yep.
His tibia breaks. His fibula breaks. Compound fractures, bones sticking through skin, both bones sticking through skin. Teammates and opponents are running away from it in horror because you just don't see that every day.
Right.
So we saw it with Paul George playing for Team USA in a scrimmage in Las Vegas. And obviously, we saw it with Gordon Hayward on opening night.
Yep, last year.
Against LeBron's team in Cleveland. How do you explain it? I can't. We saw Kyrie fracture his kneecap in overtime of Game 1 of the NBA Finals and completely changed that series. So, obviously, I feel sorriest for Nurkic. But I got to say this. I also feel sorry for Damian Lillard.
So before Skip starts talking about Damian Lillard, that's absolutely terrible to have your leg break like that. I mean, that could be possible a career ender, to have everything in your lower leg shatter like that. I mean, and just from jumping up and landing on someone else's foot, that means something. I mean, that means something. To have your bones be that brittle, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but was he drinking milk as a young kid? I mean, because milk makes your bones stronger when you're growing up. You got to drink cow milk and not goat milk, because it just doesn't make sense that your bones are that fragile that they would just snap like that. I'm talking about just for anybody. But to have your bones just break like that? I mean, I know it's a freak accident, but okay, I can see maybe you broke a bone. You know, it snapped. Okay, I understand that. But to have both bones and your lower leg snap, and then they rip through the skin, man, that means something. There's a deficiency of something somewhere. Now, I know he's a big guy, and he comes down. There's a lot of weight coming down on his leg, too. But to have your bones just snap like that, I mean, there's 300-pounders in the NFL that are jumping every single play and rolling around and getting it, and their legs don't break, and then a bone goes through the skin. Now, I know this is a freak accident. There's nothing funny about it. This could be career ending. It's everything that goes along with that. But, I mean, God, that's just terrible. That's just bad luck. I don't know what to call it. But let's keep going.
Because before your very eyes this year, he's grown up to me. Every time he speaks after a game, I'm on the edge of my seat. He's profound. He's insightful. He's so mature in his vision. And he just said a couple of weeks ago, he pledged allegiance to Portland.
Yes.
Remember this?
Yes.
He's the one superstar in the NBA who said, you know what? I don't want to go unite with other superstars. I just want to stay home. I want to do.
Exactly. So a couple other guys especially that one guy that just came over from the East, he's playing in the West right now, and we'll be sitting at home during the playoffs. He needs to take note. Damian Lillard is the man. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to jump teams. I'm not going to jump ship when things don't look good. I'm going to stay here in Portland and try to make things work, because it'll be all the more sweeter if I mess around and get a ring, even if it doesn't look good. I'm going to stay home. There's something about loyalty. I'm pretty sure Lillard probably learned that from Kobe, from MJ, from all those guys. Now you stay home. You make it work at home. Let's keep going.
it here. So he had this team at 46-27. That's pretty good. They're just one game out of the third seed behind Houston. They'd won 4 straight. They'd won 7 of 10. They were quietly, after the additions of Enes Kanter and Rodney Hood around the trade deadline, they were quietly becoming some like off-the-radar threat in the West.
Right.
I like this team, but I liked it a lot more when it had C.J. McConnell, who just hurt his knee. I'm sorry, McCollum, who hurt his knee. And when he hurt his knee, I was watching the game live, I thought he was done. And they say it's just a sprain, but he's been gone now for 4 games. And so this leaves Damian Lillard where? I don't know. I don't even know if they can make the playoffs now because this is going to tailspin the wrong direction.
They might.
So what Lillard needs to do is step up his game and stop putting up racks, just like James Harden. James Harden's pretty much doing it by himself. Does Lillard have that type of game? I'm not too sure. But we'll see. He's going to stay at home and make it happen. So let's see what he can do. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Make it, Skip, but
Maybe.
they won't be. I don't believe they'll be holding on to the 4th seed because it's so congested.
They flamed out
last
year ago in the first round thanks to
3-6 matchup, the Pelicans.
Yeah. But in this case, I feel for Damian because he deserved better. And LeBron James 2 days ago talked about the basketball gods, and I do believe they're basketball gods. And somehow they just didn't like this Portland team because that's all I can explain it by is you gods, you wanted.
Well, maybe the basketball gods are breaking down Damian Lillard's squad, the Trailblazers, to build them up. Everything bad's happening out to them now. Next year, bam, they might come out straight balling. You never know what might happen. You never know what will happen. That's why you stay home with your squad because you never know what could happen. They can come up and they can start balling next year and take over. You never know. You never know what the football god or the basketball gods are thinking and what they're going to do for you, what their plan is for you. You saw what happened to that one guy they were just talking about. The basketball god said, nope, you're going to go from the east to the west and play like garbage. And you're not making the playoffs. But that's a different video. Let's keep going.
This, I guess, or you didn't want it.
Skip, I was watching the game and they were in overtime and I think Portland was up by like 4 or 5 points and it was like 30-something seconds left and I was like, okay, they're going to win this game. And then I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm looking like Nurkic breaks his leg. I'm like, how did he break his leg in the last 24 seconds? And then as I started reading, it went into double overtime and that's what had happened. Skip, how many times do you think Nurkic had jumped in the air in his career, in his life? Let that sink in. I mean, he's 24 years of age.
24 years.
So he's probably been playing basketball since he's been 10, 12, 15 years of age. So for the past decade, he's jumped up and down, up and down, up and down.
That's what he does.
And this is the thing that you said about football players. Yeah, we've seen guys, they step funny and they tear an ACL. We saw that with Jimmy Garoppolo. We saw it with Jordy Nelson. We see guys have non-contact injuries.
We do.
It is normally patella. It might be an Achilles. It might be an ACL. But we don't see compound fractures.
Not that often.
I mean,
I think maybe because football players, they have a different workout regimen and system than basketball players, obviously, because you need to be big and strong from head to toe to play football, to take those type of hits. So I think football is going to be a little bit different generally because they're working out their legs heavily, squats and, power cleans, and things like that. So they're going to be a little bit more stronger. The meat around their bones is going to be a little bit more stronger. Although I don't know what's going on with this guy. Like I said, his both of his bones broke in his leg, and then it went through the skin. That's got something to do with, I don't quite know if that's working out. That's got something to do with probably your childhood. You're not drinking enough milk, or you don't have enough calcium, or something's going on there because your legs just don't break like that. Especially just jumping and landing. This freak accidents, okay, you snapped your leg, but snapping it, both bones, and then they go through your skin, and then it just gets as bad as it can get. Man, I don't know. Let's keep going.
Normally you see that somebody hits you high, hits you low, or they make contact with the leg.
Yeah.
He just stepped on someone's ankle. We've seen guys, maybe roll your ankle. We've seen LeBron step on someone's ankle, tie his shoe up, and he's back at it.
I don't know how he does it.
Well, I know how LeBron does it. There's a reason why he hasn't had any major injuries for the past 16 years, except for this year. Ironically, when it comes out to the West, there's a reason for it because he takes those special trips mid-season to Florida, and he gets re-energized with his friend Peyton Manning Dwayne Wade, they're on that little special list. Go to that one building. Oh, no. But that building burnt down, though, didn't it? With all the information in it. I don't know. Allegedly. Let's keep going.
Lonzo Ball steps on someone's ankle, and he's gone for the rest of the year.
But he didn't fracture it, to my knowledge.
But it was just so freaky. But for me, I didn't think there were going to be a serious contender in the West. I think there's there's 1.5 teams that can challenge Golden State. I think it's the Rockets, and I think it's Denver. If Denver can get hot, because they can shoot the three as well as anybody. But James Harden single-handedly can keep Houston close to them, Golden State. So I really never thought. And for me, the right matchup, if they were to get the Clippers, and Nurkic was there, CJ McCollum's healthy, could they get by the Clippers? Yes. But they mess around and get the wrong matchup, and they're gone again in the first round. And that's what I was afraid that was going to happen, Skip. This is really sad. And to think, the guy's 24 years old, and a lot of people don't know this, Skip. The Denver Nuggets had both of him and Jokic.
They did.
And they said, we got to trade them because they both do the same thing. And one guy is 20, 10, and 6 or 7, and the other guy is 15, 10, and 5. So it just lets you know how skilled they are. And, Nurkic from Bosnia, Jokic is Serbia, we don't have to get into all that. But Skip, he was having his best year statistically. Let him forget the game.
Yeah.
He's a 7-foot big guy that can score, can rebound, and he can pass out of the post. They run pick and roll basically all day with him and CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard. That's basically their offense. He gets a little piece of them. Dame's either going to pull up, CJ's going to get halfway to the basket, or he's going to roll and he's going to get an easy bucket. That's what they are.
You know what? I like this team more than you like it. I thought it had a chance. Listen, I'm not sold on Golden State.
Okay.
It keeps losing monumentally at home, and it's like one bad sign after another. Are they the best team? Yes, they're the best team. Maybe by far, unless they're the most troubled team.
But we've seen that. We see the Grizzlies beat the Rockets. We see Denver go to Indiana and lose by 40. I don't know what's going on lately.
I saw Oklahoma City just stink it up at Memphis last night.
And
It's everybody sputtering and getting out the kinks and being lazy and doing all that. It's kind of like the quiet before the storm. That's why all these teams are not doing so well. They're getting beat up by 40 points and they're losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. It's kind of like the quiet before the storm because they know the playoffs start coming. Get it in gear. Get it in gear because it's going to be win or go home. Like that one guy is going to be at home. I don't need to bring his name up. But let's keep going.
I get it. It's where everybody's waiting for the playoffs. Well, I don't want to be losing by 30 and 40 points getting ready to go to the playoffs. But, Skip, this is sad.
Yeah.
I mean, to see a guy go up and do something that he's done so many other times, and
remember,
it's over.
Steph's little brother is coming into his own. He scored 20 last night off the bench for them.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, if you add Cantor and Rodney Hood, I'm so Hood from last year.
Oh, he finally showed up, huh?
He's starting to show up. But I started to like their makeup.
Yeah.
And I've become I haven't been a Dame fan until this year. I loved what he said about Portland, and I love how he's just taken ownership of this team now.
Well, I've noticed a big change in Dame Lillard since the birth of his son.
Yep.
That's brought perspective to his life.
Yep.
And I think he views things a lot differently. Maybe when he came into the league, he's trying to make a name for himself because he was Rookie of the Year. He wanted to get to an all-star game. He just wanted to be acknowledged. Now he's like, you know what? Hey, if it's not in the cards for me to win a title in Portland, well, oh well. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to sit here and play these cards that were dealt to me, and I'm perfectly content with that. And I think the child has brought that kind of perspective and that kind of peace to his life.
Well, the West just got a little easier for somebody, probably Golden State, but you never know.
Golden State was going to be Golden State. I get it, Skip. You know, right now everybody say, but you watch. Watch what happens. They'll probably lose a total in 4 rounds. They'll probably lose about 5-6 games.
Well, that's a lot. If you happen to lose all those in one series.
Stop it. Now, you know good and well they're not losing no 4. You can't lose 5 or 6 in one series.
No, I'm just not completely sold on Golden State.
Hold on.
You don't just suddenly lose to Dallas by whatever it was.
So, Skip, you're right. You don't just all of a sudden start losing to teams like that, but they're not doing as good as they should be doing, but they're not as good as doing as should be doing. It's better than any other teams. So they're doing bad right now. They're not doing as good as they should be doing, but that is still better than any other teams. You guys know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter. So let's keep going.
30 at home.
Whoa. You mean to tell me somebody's going to beat a team with the best player on the planet, the third best player on the planet?
The best player on the planet appears to me not to want to be there anymore.
What they got to do? He's still the best, though, right?
Okay. Well, if your heart's not in it, then it doesn't matter.
Well, what about that ball? Is it going in the bucket?
Do you want that player on your team next year? Yes, you do.
Yeah, of course, then.
You've been campaigning for him.
All I'm saying is
you know
they got 2 27-point scores on their roster.
All right. It just depends if you're right psychologically. You know that, and I know that. Are they right?
What are they going to do?
Because if they're not right, then they are right.
Who's going to beat them?
Ripe for the
Who's going to beat them? Who's going to beat them?
Any of those teams in the West could beat them. Listen.
Beat who?
So at this point, I would say they can get beat, but they won't. They won't. Golden State can get beat. No doubt they can get beat. Like we saw 3 nights ago, when they got beat up by 40 points. It can't happen. But I don't think it's going to happen. You see what I did there? It can happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. So let's keep going.
You don't think they can lose a home game this year? Want to bet they're going to lose a home playoff game?
They lost one last year They lost one last year to Houston and come back and take it right back from them.
If Chris Paul doesn't go down, Houston's going to the finals.
With that, against the basketball god.
There you go.
And LeBron would have had another title.
And last year,
KD
was happy.
And you wouldn't want that, would you? You wouldn't want LeBron to play Houston in the NBA Finals and win another title.
LeBron should be in the play.
Shannon, now you're talking about hypotheticals, and we don't play with hypotheticals. So let's play with real life.
Else this year.
Yeah.
Man, we're not talking about that, Skip.
Well,
I'm not going to let you.
We all wanted that.
See, if they were in the 8th seed right now, I'd be saying, okay, well, maybe you got a shot.
He's trying